Hi guys, Aditya Kalyani this side. So today we are going to discuss about a very classic problem, and this is a problem which, as a web developer, we are bound to face. It's not exactly a problem, but it's more like a design and thinking in terms of JavaScript. So let's basically see what the problem is. So what I'm trying to design here is a search bar. How a Google search bar is designed. So, as you can see in the screen that we have a search bar. So in the search bar, if you type anything, a result comes out. It's basically a network call that happens, and what not happens in the back end. CDNs, network calls, caching. There are so many things, and I mean we can definitely read about it. But this is more towards the front end side of it and towards the JavaScript side of it. So how should we handle this gracefully in the front end? More based on the needs. So, like uh, in a classic case, if we type something in a search bar, it is bound to give the results, and it is if we type H, it can give hundreds and thousands of results. That it's not possible to show 100,000 results in a search drop down. What Google does is that why I'm talking about Google is because it is considered one of the best search engines. So that's why. So what Google does is that it will fish out the most searched items which has the keyword H in it. I know it sounds very abstract right now, but let's say that we typed in the word hat. So the hat can be a word which can be like it's a substring in a string, or it can start with hat, it can end with hat. Hat as a word can be as a substring for that particular string, like hatchlings and all those things. So it will give the most searched uh, results, and it will display them, and it depends on the length of your drop down, how many results you want to display. So basically, let me show you what I'm trying to do here. For that, first let's hide the console. Suppose before that, let me just go to my code and uh, to just give a feel of the API and to give the feel of a search domain. I have created a very static list. So what I'm considering is that in the world there are only these many words. Okay, so these are some 18 words, and why I have kept these words, we will know that briefly. Uh, so um, our search engine basically works on this. So now the question would be, where is the network call? I'm just trying to give it a feel of a network call by giving a timeout. Because what is a network call? It is just loading the data from a source, which takes a little bit time because it happens over the network. Right. So I have the data. I can load the data. What I'm doing is that just I'm giving it a delay, set timeout. So we will discuss about these things as and when we get to the code. So let's say that if we want to search by the word H, so suppose with H, now notice all these words have H, but I am only displaying the top 5 results. Top 5 results meaning for me, the first 5 results. That's it. Right. Now, uh, uh, so if now if I type HA, I should see hat, hat trick, hand, hatch, and hathaway. So these are the top 5 words. Right. So let's see. Yeah, so we have this hat, hat trick, hand, hatch, and hatchaway. Now, this is fine, but but the thing to understand here is that on each key press, if we are making network calls, it's a very costly affair, right? And JavaScript can handle it very, very gracefully, and it depends basically on a classic typing speed of people. Now, suppose if we wanted to search, apologies for this. Yeah, suppose if we wanted to search the, uh, uh, suppose we are looking to search hat, okay, and I mean we want to search uh, the substring hat. So what I'm going to do, when we type, we have a basic speed, right? Uh, the difference between two key press ideally would not be more than 1 second or something for people, right? So if I have to type hat, and let me go back to my dictionary of words, what will I get? Hat, hat trick, hatch, hathaway, and hatchers, right? So let me type hat and observe carefully what happens. You must have seen that there was there was a little bit of shuffle of words that happened. Why that happened, we will come to that. Okay, but we've got our results and we should be happy with that. What did we get? Hat, hat trick, hatch, hathaway, and hatchers, as expected. Right. Now, what about the? I will do that once again and notice the transition that take place in the gray box that will be loading. Right. You saw there was a transition, right? Why did this transition come in place? Okay. So for that, what I'm going to do is that we will first jump into the code. Okay. So basically, this is a very simplistic HTML wherein I am making an input text box and I'm saying that on key up, we should call the function fetch words. We will go to it shortly. And notice that there is, I have created uh, an area for displaying my results, which I'm calling, I've given an ID as display box. Currently, I'm hiding it. I have written just simple CSS for that. If you see hide is display none. And when we remove the hide class and add the show class, it will do a display block. Right. And I've given some height and width and the background effect to my search box. So as soon as we press each key, we are calling the fetch words function, right? So let's go to our JavaScript. What is happening here? We are calling our fetch words function. We have a fetch words function here. So the expectation is that we are aware of async and await. Basically, async and await are ways of making JavaScript from a single threaded or from synchronous calls to asynchronous call, meaning we want to wait, right? So inherently JavaScript is a single threaded language, and it does not have intuitively, it does not have any ways in which it waits for anyone. JavaScript does not wait for anything, right? But whenever we are making a network call and we want to fetch the results from the network call and we want to use the results in our HTML, then we have to wait for the results, right? Ideally, if you write 10, 20,000, 1 lakh line of code, the execution time will not even be like 1 second or something like that, right? But if you make one network call, it is bound to take, depends on the network, but let's say that it will take 1 second. It's not that slow. Also, it usually takes somewhere 300 to 500 milliseconds on on a network call. So yeah, so we digressed a bit onto that, but the expectation is that we know about async and await. So why this is declared as an async function, we'll come to know shortly. So I'm calling this fetch words. Okay, and what is this doing is that first it is giving me, I've written some DOM manipulations here. It is getting the element by ID search bar. Here you can see I've given the ID as search bar to my search box. Let us open the debug tools, and this is my search bar, right? So it will get element by the ID search bar dot value. So whatever we type in here is the value, right? So it will get the value. If the search word is empty, what do we want to do is that we don't want to display anything, which is the status right now. We are not displaying the search box below it, right? What did I to do that? What should we do? We got the element here, which is which I can say is the you know, child element for this ID. All these are children. So what I will do is that I will just okay, for this instance, I don't even have to get it by children, right? I have to just get element by ID display box, and I have to, if the show element was, if the show class was enabled, I will remove it and I will add the hide class, so it will do a display box, right? Remove search box is that why I have done is we will get to it shortly. What it means is that um, with respect to this div, which is ID display box, I will be appending child elements here, right? I will be appending child elements here, which will be showing me those search results, right? The top 5 results, what we were seeing. So each and every result is a div, right? So if any child exists, we want to remove it. So to remove it, what did we do? We have to send the parent node, right? What did I do? So suppose if there was a div inside this div, right? And if I have to eliminate this div, let's say that this is the div, okay. For some reason, I have to get rid of this div. The easier solution is to just comment it out or remove it. But if I have to do through DOM manipulations, this div does not has any ID. It nowhere we can locate the div, right? Until and unless we do that document.get element by ID dot inner HTML is equals to Aditya, and we iterate through all the divs that we have in our HTML. But an easier way is, if you notice this div is a child of this particular div, right? So what can I do? I can get, it's easy for me to get this particular div. If I have to get this div, it means that I get this entire element, right? So I do a document dot get element by ID display box. Then I see if it has any child nodes. This is a child node, and we get rid of it, right? So these are some easy DOM manipulations. Again, we are digressing from the main topic. So it's just to say that if you look at this function, what is it doing? It gets the node, the ID display box, and it is just iterate. It's just like a linked list, right? That if the links exist, then keep removing the links. How do we find the links? Node.first child. These are simple DOM manipulations, and if we are not very comfortable with this one, I will be sure to make consecutive videos of these things. Although these are prerequisites, but I think these are relatively easier things. Now, so if search word is blank, no problem, right? Now we are getting the results. We are calling this fetch list function. Okay, await. What does await do is that now it will wait for the results. It will wait here for the results. Like I said, JavaScript does not wait, but here we are exclusively saying JavaScript to please wait, because we are trying to make a network call. Now, like I told you, like any network call takes some time. So just to give a feel of that, I have used the timeout function and giving it a delay of 1 second, so that it waits for 1 second and we get a feel of a network call. So whenever we are doing async and await, we know that whatever we are trying to call, if we are making a network call, it should return a promise, right? So we are returning a promise. Again, a promise has 3 states ideally: resolve, reject, and pending. We can forget about pending state, because it will just hang in pending until the API fetches the result. So if it is not able to fetch the result, it rejects, means there is some error. If it is able to fetch, it resolves, right? So resolve and reject are for, we can say, a success and a failure handler for any network or for any function which is returning a promise. So for our case, I am always expecting that we always get the result from the API, right? Because we are not talking about promises and the nature of promises here. So we will always resolve the promise. So it gets the result. What are we sending? We are sending the search word, right? Notice like we got the value of the search word from the input box, right? So if search word was hat, it will send hat, right? This q argument uh, is the parameter search word, right? And in here it will wait for a second, then just to give a feel of the network call, then it will look at this array, our search array, our dictionary, right? And I have written a simple filter function that uh, return me all those words which have which index of q is greater than -1. Like I said, like suppose I type HAT, so it should return me hat trick. Did something here, right? Yeah, hathaway, hatchers, hatband, hate, hats, right? So I expect let us call an API. Okay, I expect this API to return me those words. So this is what it means, right? Basically, this is how any search function would work. Like it goes to a dictionary, whatever word you are giving, it searches for, it will consider that as a substring, and it will search for this substring in the entire dictionary of words, and it will return you. It is as simple as that. So it is returning me. Once it returns me, what I'm going to do is that I'm saying if the length is greater than 5, like I said, that we only have to display the top 5 results. So if the length is greater than 5, what I'm doing is that I am splicing the returned array from the 0th element till a length of 5, right? You can do till let's say that your search results return top 7 results or top 10 results. It's up to us, right? So just for an example purpose, I've taken 5. Now it will splice it. So again, if we get an empty array, it means no results are returned. What do we want to do? We just want to hide the display, the box where we get the results, right? Again, it is the same thing, that if show class is enabled, remove it, add the hide class, and if there were any child nodes to the display box, remove them, as we discussed, right? If not, okay, there is an indentation problem. Yeah, we got rid of that. So if results dot length is not 0, basically if it is greater than 0, then now we have to show our search bar, the search results box. So what we did is that we removed the hide class and we added the show class, so that now the the display box, rather the result box is available. Now, what I'm saying is that if the elements already existed, like suppose if I type HA, so I get the result, right? I have the results from HA. Now, if I type T, so my key becomes HAT. First, I have to get rid of these results, right? And I get a new array of HAT that I have to display, right? So that is the reason I'm removing all the elements or all the searched elements from there, from the HTML. And now the new and fresh results that I'm getting, I am creating individual divs for everyone, and I am appending them as child nodes to the ID display box. So now it would be clear here when I said that why those are the child elements of the root node which has the ID display box, because I am doing that here, right? What we are doing here is that we are creating an element div. Suppose we got 5 results, right? Suppose we got add, hatch, the way and hatches. So if we got these 5 results, so what you're doing is that if this is the results array, if it looks like this, so for each iteration it will create a new div. To this div it will add the value. Inner HTML means what? The view value of the div, right? It will add hierarchically or iteratively first hat, then it will append child to the display box. So what actually happens here is that it is created like this. So the first will have hat, then on the second iteration we will get height, then we will get hatch, and so on and so forth, right? So I am doing that through DOM manipulation because I am creating the result list on the fly, right? So having done that, this list is created and it is displayed. So what we are doing is that we are on each key press, we are calling an API, getting the results, displaying the results. As simple as that. Right. So again, like if I type HAT, so it is giving me all the top 5 results for the hat. Now, the important thing is the cost of the API. So notice the console. In this console, we'll be able to see every time that we get results. This will become clear. So I am typing hat again. So hat is a summation of 3 alphabets, H, A, and T, right? So actually it's a summation of 3 substrings, H, HA, and HAT, right? So I'm typing it in a very speedy manner, HAT. Notice now I'm seeing that I am getting three results here. Why did I get 3 results here? From where did it console come? This console is coming from our our fetch words function, right? Ideally, what my HTML displayed here is only okay. I pressed another key, right? Ideally, my HTML here, it is only showing me the results of HAT. Why am I getting the results? These 17 results. I mean, this entire dictionary, then some random 9 length array, and then I'm getting an 8 length array. I've actually cut short the array to 5, right? So why am I getting these 3 results? Why it is always calling the API? It is because if I refresh this now, see, notice H 17 results, HA 9 results, HAT 8 results, right? Ideally, I should have only got 8 results. So it means that for H, I'm calling the API, it gives me the results, right? From this, to display the top 5, I am I spliced out the array, right? Hat trick, HSBC, hand, and heaven, right? Now, if I do an HA, again it called the API. It gave all the results which has HA in it, right? We spliced it till 5, till Hathaway we spliced it. Now HAT, it gave us 8 results and we spliced it till hatchers, right? What was the need to call the API so many times? We should have just called the API for hat. So this is a very costly affair, right? Calling an API at each key press is a very costly affair. So to get rid of this, what should we do, right? Ideally, suppose we can say that if there would have been such a way where we only called the API when I'm giving a pause to the keyboard, a pause of let's say 500 milliseconds to the keyboard, then I want the API to be called. That makes sense, right? Suppose I call Suppose I write hat at a very, very in a very speedy way. Within half a second, if I write hat, which I can, right? I wrote. So here there is no requirement why I should call the API with H and then with HA and then with HAT, right? So what is the solution to this? Debouncing. Okay. So what is debouncing? Basically, debouncing is a way to capture the time between two successive key presses. That is what we are talking about, right? That if I press H and if I give a subsequent delay uh, in typing the next alphabet, then it makes sense that take H as a query string and go and call the API and return the results. But if I'm typing HATE at a very high speed, then it does not, it is senseless to get the results for H and then HA and then HAT and then HATE, right? It does not make any sense. So what we can do here is that we can design our front end, so to say, in such a way that it will only make network calls on pauses, right? So for that, I have had my code ready. So let us remove this, paste it here, and let us get our code. Okay. Now let us see the function changes, or let us see the changes that we are doing. Okay. So again, on key press, I'm calling the fetch words function only. So what is fetch words doing now? It is calling a debounce function. What this debounce function is doing is that it takes a function as a parameter, it takes a delay as a parameter, and what it will do is that whatever function we passed to it, it will call that function only if the delay is met. Clear? Right. So what I do is that I have written my search function. Right. Here this was our search function that we saw earlier. So we are calling our debounce function. Let us see what this debounce function has. So in this debounce function, we are passing search function and a digit 500. What is this digit 500? We want the API to only be called if there is a delay of 500 millisecond, or if so to say, there is a delay of 500 milliseconds between two key presses. Now, if you say that I just press H and I'm sitting, I didn't press any other letter, how will it determine what was the delay between pressing H and the next button, which was never pressed? What it means is that if H is pressed, then it will begin a timer of 500 milliseconds. Within that time, if just before 500 milliseconds, another key is pressed, suppose A is pressed, the keyword becomes HA, let's forget about it, but the timer is destroyed and a new timer is created, again, which starts from 0, and it will wait for 500 milliseconds. Again, if within this 500 milliseconds nothing happens, then it will do what we intend it to do. But if again I write a letter, suppose after 300 milliseconds I write T, again it will destroy this timer. Nothing will happen. Okay, whatever logic we write inside this timer, nothing will happen because this timer is only destroyed. Okay, then we write T. Then again a new timer is created. Okay, it has keyword HAT, keep it side, and it will wait for 500 milliseconds. Now let us say that we did not press any key. So what it will do is that it will go to the network and with the keyword HAT, and it will call the API and will get the results, and it will display the results. How much time did it wait? I mean, how many network calls did it make? It made if we are clear till here, it made only one network call with the keyword HAT. Okay. Now suppose we waited for the 500 milliseconds, network call was made, results were returned, we displayed the results. So after 3 seconds, we type the keyword E. Okay. And we do not do anything after that. So as soon as we type the keyword E, Again, a new timer is created. Whatever is being created under this debounce function, this timer, we will come to the logic of the timer. Okay, a timer is created for 500 milliseconds. Let us say that the timer has expired, which means 500 milliseconds has successfully expired. So it will again make the API call. So it means that I have written a function where my logic resides. I'm saying this function should only be called if there is a delay of 500 milliseconds or if after pressing any key 500 milliseconds have expired. Yeah. So what do we need to do for that? Okay. This will return us a function, right? This debounce function, it is returning a function which is meaning to do whatever it wants to do. Okay. So I call this debounce function with my actual logic. Okay. My actual logic, whatever we've discussed it earlier. Okay. So here, this function has my actual logic, and I'm saying give a 500 millisecond delay. So let us come here. So just on key press, this debounce function will be called. Okay, I'm creating a timer. Okay, then it comes inside this function. So what this clear timeout will do? It clears the timer, right? So a timer was initialized. It will clear the timer. Okay. Now, again, we are reinitializing the timer. We are saying this timer. We are saying that I want my logic to only work if the delay is expired, right? So this delay is 500 milliseconds. Now it will come inside this function. This search word is basically whatever we discussed, whatever is the value we've written in the input box, and it will call back the actual logic. This foo is my parameter that I've taken for search function, right? I mean, we can name it whatever. It's just a parameter, right? Or an argument, right? So only then it will call. When it will call, when the delay has expired, right? So I hope we know what a set timeout is. What is a set timeout? It is basically not a JavaScript API. It is a browser API, right? What it will do is that it will take this function. It will start a timer for 500 milliseconds. Right. It starts a timer for 500 milliseconds, and only after this 500 milliseconds is expired, only then it pushes the function to execution. Right. So as soon as 500 milliseconds is expired, only then this timer will expire and will push this to the event queue or the event loop. Right. So this timer is created. I press H, the timer is created. But within 100 milliseconds, I press H and A. A. What happens now is that again this debounce function is called because on each key press the function is being called, right? It will go inside the function. There was a timer created, right? Which had H as the parameter. It will destroy this. It will destroy this. It will create a new timer again for 500 milliseconds. Okay. Now suppose 200 milliseconds expired. I press T. Then again this debounce function is called. Again the inner function is called. Whatever function it is supposed to return. Right. Then again the timer that was created, again it is destroyed because we are calling this clear timeout. What does clear timeout do? Whatever timeout was, whatever timeout was created with that name. The name that we're giving to the timeout is timer. So whatever timeout that was created with this name timer, it will destroy this, right? So I press T again. So first, whatever timer was there, which had HA in it, that is destroyed. Destroyed means what? It will never go to the execution stack, right? Because I've destroyed the timer. Before the timer could expire and it could move through the main execution, JavaScript execution stack, I am destroying it. So it will not move there. Now again a new timer is created for 500 milliseconds. The search word is HAT. Now suppose I don't do anything. Right? Now it will go and make the API call. So how many API calls are made? Only one API call is made. So let us jump to it. Again, we will be able to see in console. If I type HAT, see, we are only calling the API once against the earlier way where we were calling the API at each key press. Right now suppose if I type E, I waited for the 500 milliseconds, right? And it just returned me one result, which I'm displaying here, right? Let us do this again. Suppose I type H and I'm waiting for more than 500 milliseconds. So it gives me the results. I'm splicing the top 5 results, right? Now let us type in AT like together with a very less delay. So expectation is that only one API call will be made. So I'm going to just notice here, I'm just going to type in AT very fast. Okay, AT. Notice we are successfully making the API call once here, right? So this is, although, you know, in a search engine, there is a huge backend. There are a lot of things used. We are not going there, but the power of a UI is that it can limit the network calls you're doing, which is a very costly affair, which is a very time-taking affair, and which can, which can destroy the user experience of the UI. So this mechanism that we just discussed, this sweet little code of just 10 lines, is a very powerful JavaScript function which helps us to make the UI more cognizant, more seamless. Okay, so this is what debouncing is basically, and this is used in a lot of search uh, search engines. Yeah, so that is what we have designed here. Since we were not dealing with backend, that is why we have just created our data set, and we were just querying our data set, and to just get a feel of the API, I added a 1 second delay to the result. So I hope you enjoyed the video and were able to understand this video. Please let me know if I have done anything which is unclear, or any suggestions or anything. Thank you.